Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. If you don't know already, our Prime Minister is a con man. Let's take a look. I worked on this video last night just for fun. Let's go. It will be a raw
society, and he doesn't trust free people to make their own decisions. That's something that colors a lot of his writing, a lot of his speeches, that, you know, people like him should run things. You know, he's a very fancy person. You know, he's hobnobbed with the rich and famous. He likes being in fancy rooms where they wear tuxedos and know which fork to use for the salad and the fish.
Prominent people that were part of these HSBC Swiss accounts that had been inherited from Safra. Epstein was one of them. Some associates of Epstein, like Flavio Briatore, are there. But also, you know, HSBC was laundering money for drug cartels. And who didn't go after them when they were in charge of the Bank of England? Mark Carney, who is now Prime Minister of Canada.
And everyone's leaving.
And while he was head of the Bank of England, you know, there's pictures of him hanging out with Ghislaine. Who's, you know, Father Robert Maxwell was banked by Safra, among other things. So.
Well, I remember him from my childhood.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
Canada's broken, and Canada's broken because we're stupid. Okay? Canada's broken because we're stupid.
Right there, he was lying about what Pierre Poilievre has said, which he never has said this, but he was very happy to say it. He thinks we're dumb.
Yeah, I am a European, actually.
Oh,
you are?
Yeah,
I'm
Irish citizen. Yeah. So there you
welcome.
go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European, I like to say following. And as the most European of the non-European countries, Canada looks first to the European Union to build a better world. And we really have two choices. As a jurisdiction, as a country in this circumstance, we can nostalgically look back and long for the old order to somehow return, or we can build a new one with purpose and partnership. And so today, this is a new era of cooperation. Our strategic Canada-EU or EU-Canada strategic partnership for the future will build a new and deeper relationship that brings us closer together, from defense to digital, from supply chains to security. We're launching comprehensive negotiations across multiple areas of cooperation and connection, trade, security, digital, climate. So we're meeting now in that context in, as you just said, in hard times. We might say even a hinge moment of history, a world that's more dangerous and divided, a time where the rules-based international, the global order, rules-based global order is under threat, in a time when technological change is accelerating.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows. For those values, these are Muslim values. These are Canadian values. Those values are Canadian values. Those are the values that I kept close to me when I was managing crises in Canada and around the world.
Reticent to talk about that.
Because I'm a good negotiator. I have negotiated a number of situations in the past. I know how to manage. Yeah, and they were values that I remembered when I was building strong economies. And they're values that I'm drawing on to stand up to Donald Trump and help build the strongest economy in the G7. You know, this is the most consequential vote of our lifetimes, because President Trump has ignited a trade war that is ruptured. No, we don't like Trump here. Ruptured the global economy and changed forever our relationship with the United States.
Hey, elbows out.
Elbows up. Let me finish by pointing out one other thing. Who's the worst person to stand up to Donald Trump? It's Pierre Poilievre. He worships the man. Happy birthday. A few days short.
A little bit.
A few days short, but didn't have a chance to see you on the day. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually. But thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president. Focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the. He worships the man. American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world.
Mr. Carney, Stephanie Levitz, Globe and Mail. We understand that you have now placed your assets in a blind trust, so you don't know what's happening.
He ended up having over 500 conflicts of interest. That's how it came
Happening to them going forward, but you knew what they were going into that blind trust. So what are they?
Look, Stephanie, I follow the rules of the Ethics Commissioner. I am following them well in advance of any of the requirements, as you know, because I know you know this. You know that these requirements come into effect in months. We're talking days after I became Prime Minister. So I'm complying with the rules of the Ethics Commissioner, going through the processes and all these things that are necessary. And I will remind you, and I'll remind Canadians again, that the Leader of the Opposition cannot find it. And look, you look at the questions this evening, you look at the nature of the discussions, you look at the nature of discussions I had with the President of France, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The Leader of the Opposition would not be capable of having those discussions because the Leader of Opposition refuses to get his security clearance, something that it took me a few weeks to get. And he has been the Leader of the Opposition for 3 years. So I comply with my responsibilities, I comply with the rules well in advance, and the Leader of the Opposition doesn't take his responsibilities at a time of, well, you should take these responsibilities at any time, but it's particularly remarkable given the stakes in global geopolitics at the moment.
The rules say that those assets should be publicly disclosed within 120 days, which means you'll campaign in a coming federal election, most likely within the next 120 days, and are serving as Prime Minister now, with Canadians not being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you sought to avoid.
What possible conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Point final.
Are you saying you are not open to any conflict of interest?
Yes.
Someone spent most of his life in the private sector. There's no possible conflict of interest in your assets. That's very difficult to believe.
Mark Carney has failed to come clean with Canadians about his financial interests and his conflicts of interest.
I own nothing but cash and personal real estate. Look inside yourself, Rosemary. I mean, you start from a prior of conflict and ill will. I have served in the private sector. I have stood up for Canada. I have left my roles in the private sector at a time of crisis for our country. I'm complying with all the rules. Your line of questioning is trying to invent new rules. I'm complying with the rules that Parliament has laid out and the responsibilities of the Ethics Commissioner. And I will continue to comply with those rules.
He has announced he's going to spend billions of dollars on modular homes. Brookfield is invested in modular homes. He says he wants to subsidize heat pumps. Brookfield is invested in heat pumps.
So part of the screen in place is that he should be shielded from making decisions that impact Brookfield-owned companies. Because in impacting Brookfield-owned companies, he impacts Brookfield's bottom line, which then impacts their share value, which impacts his option value.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values. Canada intends to recognize the State of Palestine at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025. Canada's broken, and Canada's broken because we're stupid, okay? Canada's broken because we're stupid.
I don't really know what to say, guys. Like, Andrew Scheer is very funny, able to make light of this. So am I. I mean, it's a total joke what this con man is doing. Anybody that's paying attention, you can just see it. None of it adds up unless they're deceiving you or trying to play you. That's what's being done to Canada right now. This is not by mistake. This isn't incompetence. It's something much darker and more deceptive than any of those things. We're out. Aaron, Canadian Loney. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you in the next one. Like, share, subscribe. We're out. That's it. Thanks for watching.